Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 33, given in Bombay, India.
So many people seem to be interested in meditation. But that interest cannot be very deep, because so very few are transformed through that interest. If interest is really deep, it becomes a fire by itself. It transforms you. Just through intense interest, you start becoming different. A new center of being arises. But so many people seem to be interested, with nothing new arising within. Not a new center is born. Not a new crystallization is achieved. They remain the same. That means they are deceiving themselves. The deception is very subtle. But the deception is bound to be there. You go on taking the medicine and the treatment, and the illness remains the same. Rather on the contrary, it goes on increasing. Your medicine, your treatment, are bound to be false. Maybe deep down you don't want to be transformed. That fear is very real. The fear of transformation. So on the surface you go on thinking that you are deeply interested, and deep down you go on deceiving. The fear of transformation is just like the fear of death. It is a death, because the old will have to go, and the new will come into being. You will no more be there. Something totally unknown to you will evolve out of you. Unless you are ready to die, your interest in meditation is false, because only those who are ready to die will be reborn. The new cannot become a continuity with the old. The old must discontinue. The old must go. Only then the new can come into being. The new is not an outgrowth of the old. The new is not continuous with it. The new is totally new. It comes only when the old dies. There is a gap between the old and the new. And that gap gives you fear. You are afraid. You want to be transformed, but simultaneously you want to remain the old. And this is the deception. You want to grow, but you want to remain you. Then growth is impossible. Then you can only deceive. And then you can go on thinking and dreaming that something is happening, but nothing will happen. Because the basic point has been missed. So many people all the world over, so much interested in meditation, moksha, nirvana, and nothing is happening. So much noise about it, and nothing is real happening. What's the matter? Sometimes the mind is so cunning that because you don't want to be transformed, the mind will create a superficial interest, so that you can say to yourself, you are interested, you are doing whatsoever can be done, and you remain the same. And if nothing happens, you think the technique you are using is wrong, the guru you are following is wrong, the scripture, the principle, the method is wrong. But you never think that even with a wrong method, transformation is possible if the real interest is there. I say even with a wrong method, you will be transformed if you are really interested in transformation. Even following a wrong guru, you will become different. If your soul and your heart is in your research, no one can mislead you except yourself. And nothing is a barrier to your progress except your own deceptions. When I say even a wrong master, wrong method, wrong principle can lead you to the real, I mean that the real transformation happens when you are intensely involved in it, not through any method. Method is just a device. Method is just a help. Method is secondary. Your being involved in it is foundational, fundamental. But we go on doing something, not even doing, go on talking about doing. And words creates illusions. Because you think so much about it, you read so much about it, you listen so much about it, you start feeling that you are doing something. So-called religious persons have developed many devices of deception. I have heard one motorist was passing. Just by the side of the road, he saw the school building on fire. And the teacher of that small school, of that small village, was Mullah Nasruddin. He was sitting under a tree. This motorist called over that, what are you doing there? The school building is on fire. Mullah Nasruddin said, I know about it. The motorist was so much excited, he said, then why you are not doing something? Nasruddin said, ever since it started, I have been praying for the rains. I am doing something. Prayer is a trick to avoid meditation. And the so-called religious mind has developed many types of prayers. Prayer can also become a meditation when it is not only a prayer, but a deep effort, of a deep involvement. Prayer also can become meditation, but ordinarily prayer is just an escape. To avoid meditation, people go on praying. To avoid doing anything, they pray. Prayer means God must do something, someone else must do. Prayer means we are passive. Something must be done to us. Meditation is not prayer in that sense. Meditation is something you do. You do to yourself. And when you are transformed, the whole universe behaves differently with you. Because the universe is nothing but a response to you whatsoever you are. If you are silent, the whole universe responds to your silence in thousands and thousands of ways. It reflects you. Your silence is multiplied infinitely. If you are blissful, the whole universe reflects your bliss. If you are in misery, the same happens. The mathematics remains the same, the law remains the same. The universe goes on multiplying your misery. Prayers won't do. Only meditation can help. Because meditation is something authentically to be done. It is a doing on your part. So the first thing I would like to say to you is be constantly alert that you are not deceiving. You may be doing something and still deceiving. I have heard that Mullah Nasruddin once came running into a post office, grasped the postmaster by the lapels, shook him and said, I have gone crazy, my wife has disappeared. The postmaster felt sorry and he said, really? Has she disappeared? Unfortunate. But this is the postal department. You have to go to the police department to report. Mullah Nasruddin nodded his head negatively. He said, I'm not going to be caught again. In the past also my wife did disappear. And I reported to this policeman, to the police department, and they found her. So I'm not going to be caught again. If you can take the report, take it, otherwise I'm going. He wants to report and to feel good that I have done whatsoever can be done. But he doesn't want to report to the police department. He is afraid. You go on doing things just to feel good that you are doing it. But really, you are not ready to be transformed. So all that you do just passes as useless activity. And not only useless but harmful also, because it is a wastage of time, energy, opportunities. These techniques of Shiva are only for those who are ready to do. You can ponder over them philosophically. That means nothing. Actually, if you are ready to do, then something will start happening to you. They are alive methods, not dead doctrines. Your intellect is not needed. Your totality of being is required. And any method will do. If you are ready to give it a chance, any method will do. And you will become a new man. Methods are devices, I will repeat again. If you are ready, then any method can do. They are just tricks to help you take jump. Just like jumping boards. From any jumping board you can go to the ocean. Those jumping boards are insignificant. Of what color they are, of what wood they are made, is irrelevant. They are simply jumping boards. You can take a jump from them. All these methods are jumping boards. And whatsoever method catches your fancy, try it. Don't go on thinking about it. And when someone starts doing something, then difficulties arise. If you don't do anything, there will be no difficulties. Thinking is very easy going. Because you are not really traveling. When you start doing something, difficulties will arise. And if you see that difficulties have arisen, you can feel that you are on the right track. Something is happening to you. Then old barriers will break, old habits will go. There will be change, there will be disturbance and chaos. And every creativity comes out of chaos. You will be created new. Only if all that you are becomes chaotic. So these methods will destroy you first. And then only a new being will be created. So if difficulties are there, feel fortunate. That shows growth. No growth is smooth. And spiritual growth cannot be smooth. It is not its nature. Because spiritual growth means going upward. Spiritual growth means reaching into the unknown. Reaching into the uncharted. Difficulties will be there. But remember that each difficulty, if passed, crystallizes you. You become more solid. You become more real. For the first time, you will feel something centering within you. Something becoming solid. As you are just a liquid phenomena. Changing every moment. Nothing is stable. Really, you cannot claim any eye. You don't have many eyes. Just in a flow, river-like flow. You are a crowd. Not an individual yet. But meditation can make you an individual. This word individual is beautiful. It is beautiful. It means indivisible. Right now, as you are divided. Only many fragments, anyhow clinging together. Without any central being there. Without any master in the house. Only servants. And any servant, for a moment, can become the master. Every moment you are different. Because you are not. And unless you are, the divine cannot happen to you. To whom it can happen? You are not there. People come to me and they say, we would like to see God. I ask them, who will see? You are not there. The God is always there, but you are not there. Who will see? This is just a passing thought that I want to see God. Next moment they are not interested. Next moment they have forgotten all about it. A persistent, intense effort and longing is needed. Then any method will do. Now, these will enter the methods. The first method. The appreciation of objects and subjects is the same for an enlightened as for an unenlightened person. The farmer has one greatness. He remains in the subjective mood, not lost in things. This is a very beautiful method. And you can start it as you are. No other pre-requirement is needed. This method is simple. The method is, you are surrounded by persons, things, phenomena. Every moment, something is around you. Things are there, events are there, persons are there. But because you are not alert, you are not there. Everything is there. You are fast asleep. Things move around you, persons move around you, events move around you, but you are not there. Or you are asleep. So whatsoever happens in your surroundings becomes master, becomes a force upon you. You are led by it. You are not only impressed with conditions, you are led by it. Anything can catch you, and you will follow it. Somebody passes. You look, the face is beautiful, and you are carried away. The dress is beautiful, the color, the material is beautiful. You are carried away. The car passes. You are carried away. Whatsoever happens around you catches you. You are not powerful. Everything is more powerful than you. Anything changes you, your mood, your being, your mind. Just depends on other things. Objects influence you. This sutra says that the enlightened person and the unenlightened person live in the same world. A Buddha and you both live and move in the same world. The world remains the same. The difference is not in the world. The difference happens in the Buddha. He moves in a different way. He moves in the same objects, but he moves in a different way. He is his own master. His subjectivity remains aloof and untouched. That's the secret. A thing cannot impress. Anything from the outside cannot condition him. He remains detached. He remains himself. Nothing can overpower him. If he wants to go somewhere, he will go. But he will remain the master. If he wants to pursue his shadow, he will pursue. But it is his own decision. This distinction must be understood. By detachment, I don't mean a person who has renounced the world, because then there is no sense and no meaning of detachment. A detached person is a person who is living in the same world as you are living. The difference is not in the world. A person who renounces the world is changing the situation, not himself. And you will insist in changing the situation if you cannot change yourself. And that is the indication of a weak personality. A strong person, alert and aware, will try to change himself, not the situation in which he is. Because really the situation cannot be changed, first thing. And even if you can change the situation, there will be other situations. Every moment situations go on changing. And every moment the problem will be there. This is the difference between the religious and the non-religious attitude. The non-religious attitude always tries to change the situation, the surrounding. They don't believe in you. They believe in situations. They say situation is okay, you will be okay. You are dependent on the situation. If the situation is not okay, you will not be okay. So you are not an independent entity. For communists, Marxists, socialists, and all those who believe in the change of this situation, you are not important. Really, you don't exist. Only the situation exists, and you are just a mirror who reflects the situation. The religious attitude says, as you are, you may be a mirror, but this is not your destiny. You can become something more who is not dependent. These are the 3 steps of growth. First, the situation is the master's. You are just led by it. You only believe that you are, but you are not. The second stage, you are. The situation cannot drag you. The situation cannot influence you. You have become a will. You are integrated and crystallized. And the third stage, when you start influencing the situation, just by your being there, the situation changes. The first stage is of the unenlightened. The second stage is of the person who is constantly aware, but yet unenlightened. Because he has to be alert. He has to do something to be alert. The alertness has not become natural yet. He has to fight. If he loses consciousness, alertness for a single moment, he will be in the influence of the things. So he has to stand on his toes continuously. The seeker, the sadhak, one who is practicing something. And third is the siddha, the enlightened. He is not trying to be alert. He is simply alert. There is no effort to it. Alertness is just like breathing. It goes on. He is not to maintain it. When alertness becomes such a phenomenon like breathing, natural, sahaj, spontaneous, then this type of person, this type of a centered being, automatically influences situations. Situations change around him. Not that he wishes them to change, but he is powerful. Power is the thing to be remembered. You are powerless. So anything can overpower you. And power comes through alertness, awareness. The more alert, the more powerful. The less alert, the less powerful. Look, while you are asleep, even a dream becomes powerful because you are fast asleep. You have lost all consciousness. Even a dream is powerful. You are so weak that you cannot even doubt. Even in an absurd dream, you cannot be skeptical. You will have to believe it. And while it lasts, it looks real. You may say just absurd things in a dream. But while dreaming, you cannot doubt. You cannot say this is not real. You cannot say this is a dream. You cannot say this is impossible. You simply cannot say because you are so fast asleep. The consciousness is not there. Even a dream affects you. While awake, you will laugh. And you will say it was absurd, impossible, this cannot happen, this dream was just illusory. But you have not noticed that while it was there, you were influenced by it. You were totally taken over by it. Why? A dream was so powerful. The dream was not powerful, you were powerless. Remember this, when you are powerless, even a dream becomes powerful. While you are awake, a dream cannot influence you. But the reality, the so-called reality around us influences. An awakened person, enlightened person has become so alert that your reality also cannot influence you. A woman passes, a beautiful woman passes. Suddenly, you are carried away. The desire has arisen. The desire to purchase. If you are alert, the woman will pass. But the desire will not arise. You have not been influenced. You have not been taken over. When this happens for the first time, things move around you and you are not influenced. You feel a subtle joy of being. For the first time, really, you feel you are. Nothing can break you out of you. If you want to follow, that's another thing. But that's your decision. But don't deceive. You can deceive, you can say, yes, the woman is not powerful. But I want to follow her. I want to possess her. You can deceive. Many people go and deceive. But you are deceiving nobody. You are deceiving yourself. And it is futile. Just close and look. You will know the desire is there. The desire comes first. And then you start rationalizing it. For an enlightened person, things are there. He is there. But there is no bridge between him and the things. The bridge has broken. He moves alone. He lives alone. He follows himself. Nothing else can possess him. Because of this feeling we have called this attainment moksha, total freedom, mukti. He is totally free. All over the world, man hankers after freedom. You cannot find a man who is not hankering after freedom in his own way. In so many paths, man tries to find a state of being when he can be free. And anything that gives him a feeling of bondage, he resists. He hates it. Anything that hinders, that makes him imprisoned, he fights, he struggles against it. Hence so many political fights, so many wars, revolutions. Hence so many continuous family fights, wife and husband, father and son, fight each other. The fight is basic. The fight is for freedom. The husband feels confined. The wife has imprisoned him. Now his freedom is cut. The wife feels the same. They both resist. They both fight. They both try to destroy the bondage. The father fighting the son. Because every growth in the son means more freedom for the son. And father feels he is losing something. The power, the authority. In family, in nations, in civilizations, only one thing. Man is hankering after, it is freedom. But nothing is achieved through political fights, revolutions, wars. Nothing is achieved. Because even if you get the freedom, it is superficial. Deep down you remain in bondage. So every freedom proves a disillusionment. Man longs so much for wealth. It is not a longing for wealth, as far as I understand it. It is a longing for freedom. Because wealth gives you a feeling of freedom. If you are poor, you are confined. Your means are limited. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. You don't have the money to reach. The more money you have, the more you feel you have freedom. You will do anything you like. But when you have all the money and all that you will imagine, dream to do, you can do, suddenly you feel this freedom is superficial. Because inside your being knows it well that you are powerless and anything can break you. You are impressed, influenced, purchased by things and persons. This sutra says, that you have to come to a state of consciousness where nothing impresses you. You will remain detached. How to do it? The whole day, the opportunity is there to do it. That's why this method is good, you can do it. Any moment you become aware something is possessing you, take a deep breath. Inhale a deep breath, and then exhale deeply. And then look at the thing again. While you are exhaling, look at the thing again. And look just as a witness, as a spectator. Even for a single moment, if you can achieve the witnessing state of mind, suddenly you will feel you are alone. Nothing can impress you, at least in that moment. Nothing can create desire in you. Take a deep inhalation and exhale whenever you feel that something is impressing you, influencing you, dragging you away from you. Something is becoming more important than yourself. And in that small gap of exhalation, look at the thing, a beautiful face, a beautiful body, or a beautiful building, or anything. Exhale, and while exhaling, look at the thing. And if you feel it is difficult, if just by exhaling you cannot create the gap, then do one thing more. Exhale and stop inhalation for a single moment. So the exhalation has thrown all the air out. Stop, don't inhale, and then look at the thing. When the air is out or in, and you have stopped breathing, nothing can influence you. In that moment you are unbridged. The bridge is broken. The breathing is the bridge. Try it. It will be only for a single moment. You will have the feeling of witnessing. But that will give you the taste. That will give you a feeling of what witnessing is. Then you can pursue it. The whole day, whenever something impresses you and the desire is to arise, exhale, stop in the interval and look at the thing. The thing will be there, you will be there, but there will be no bridge. Breathing is the bridge. Suddenly you will feel you are powerful. You are potential. And the more you feel powerful, the more you will become. And the more things drop, the more their power over you drops, the more crystallized you will feel. Individuality has begun. Now you have a center to refer. And any moment you can move to the center and the world disappears. Any moment you can take shelter into your own center and the world is powerless.
This sutra says the appreciation of objects and subjects is the same for an enlightened as for an unenlightened person. The former has one greatness. He remains in the subjective mood, not lost in things. He remains in the subjective mood. He remains within himself. He remains centered in consciousness. This remaining in the subjective mood has to be practiced. And as many opportunities as you can get, try it. And the appreciation of objects and subjects is the same for an enlightened as for an unenlightened person. This sutra says the appreciation of objects and subjects is the same for an enlightened as for an unenlightened.
Osho, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 33, given in Bombay, India.
Unenlightened person. The farmer has one greatness. This sutra says the appreciation of objects and subjects is the same for an enlightened as for an unenlightened person. The farmer has one greatness. He remains in the subjective mood, not lost in things. He remains in the subjective mood. He remains within himself. He remains centered in consciousness. This remaining in the subjective mood has to be practiced. And as many opportunities as you can get, try it. And every moment there is opportunity. Every single moment there is opportunity. Something or other is impressing you, dragging you out, pulling you out, pushing you in some desire, some direction. I am reminded of an old story. A great king, Bhartari, renounced the world. He renounced the world because he had lived in it totally. He had come to a realization that it is futile. It was not a doctrine to him. It was a lived reality. He has come to a conclusion through his own life. He was a man of strong desires. He had indulged in life as much as possible. Then suddenly he realized it is useless, futile. He left the world. He renounced. He went to a forest. He was meditating under a tree. The sun was rising. Suddenly he became aware just on the street, the small street which passed nearby the tree. A very big diamond was there. As the sun was rising, it was reflected in the rays. Even Bhartari had not seen such a big diamond ever before. Suddenly, in a moment of unawareness, a desire arose to possess it. The body remained unmoved, but the mind has moved. But the body was in the posture of Siddhasana. He was meditating. But the meditation was no more there. Only the dead body was there. The mind has moved. The mind has gone to the diamond. But before he could move, two men came running from different directions on their horses, and both the horsemen became aware simultaneously of the diamond lying on the street. They pulled their swords, and each one was claiming that he had seen the diamond first. There was no other way to decide, so they had to fight. They fought, they killed each other. Both were dead within moments. Two dead bodies were lying there, around that diamond. Bhartari laughed, closed his eyes, went into meditation again. What happened? He again realized the futility. And what happened to these two men? The diamond became more meaningful than their own life. And this is what possession means. They could throw away their lives just for a stone. When desire is there, you are no more. The desire can lead you to suicide. Really, every desire is leading you to suicide. But when you are in the power of a desire, you are not in your senses. You are just mad. The desire had arisen in Bhartari's mind also to purchase. In a single fragment of moment, the desire had arisen. And he may have moved, but before he could move, these two persons came and they fought. And there were two dead bodies lying there. And the stone was there in its own place. Bhartari laughed, closed his eyes, went into his meditation again. For a single moment, his subjectivity was lost. The stone, the diamond, the object became more powerful. Again, the subjectivity was regained. With the diamond, the whole world disappeared. He closed his eyes. Since centuries, meditators have been closing their eyes. Why? They are only symbolic. The world has disappeared. There is nothing to look at. Not worth even to look at. You will have to remember continuously, whenever desire arises, you have moved out of your subjectivity. This is the world, this movement. Regain, move back, get centered again. And whenever you will be able, and you will be able because the capacity is there with everyone. No one ever loses the inner potential. It is always there. You can move. If you can move out, you can move in. If I can go out of my house, why I cannot come within back? The same route has to be traveled. The same legs have to be used. I can go out, I can come in. Every moment you are moving out, whenever you move out, remember and suddenly come back. Be centered. If you feel it is difficult in the beginning, then take a deep breath, exhale, stop. In that stop moment, look at the thing which was attracting you. Really, nothing is attracting you, you were attracted. That diamond there, lying on the street in that lonely forest, was not attracting anybody. It was simply lying there, being itself. The diamond was not aware that Bhartari has been attracted. Someone has moved from his meditation, from his subjectivity, come to the world. Someone has come into the world. The diamond was not aware that two persons have lost their lives. For it. So nothing is attracting you, you get attracted. Be alert and the bridge will be broken. And you will regain balance inside. Go on doing it more and more. The more you do, the better. A moment will come when you will not need to do it. Because the inner power will give you such a strength that the attraction of things will be lost. It is your weakness which is attracted. Be more powerful, and nothing will attract you. And only then, for the first time, you are master of your own being. That gives you real freedom. No political freedom, no economic freedom, no social freedom can be of much help. Not that they are not desirable, they are good in themselves, but they will not give you the thing which the innermost core of your being is longing for. The freedom from things, from objects. The freedom to be oneself without any possibility of being possessed by anything or anybody. Second technique is similar in a way, but from a different dimension. Belief, omniscient, omnipotent, pervading. That too is based on inner power, inner strength. Very seed-like. Believe that you are omniscient, all-knowing. Believe that you are omnipotent, all-powerful. Believe that you are pervading, all-pervading. How can you believe? It is impossible. You know you are not all-knowing. You are ignorant. You know you are not all-potent. You are absolutely powerless, helpless. You know you are not all-pervading. You are confined in a small body. So how can you believe it? And if you believe, knowing well that this is not the case, the belief will be useless. You cannot believe against yourself. You can force a belief, but it will be useless, meaningless. You know it is not so. A belief becomes useful only when you know that this is so. This has to be understood. A belief becomes powerful if you know this is the case. True or untrue is not the point. If you know this is the case, a belief becomes truth. If you know this is not the case, then even a truth cannot become a belief. Why? Many things have to be understood. First, whatsoever you are is your belief. You believe that way. You have been brought up in that way. You have been conditioned in that way. So you believe. And your belief influences you. It becomes a vicious circle. For example, there are races where man is less powerful than woman. Because those races believe that a woman is more powerful, more strong, stronger than man. Their belief has become a fact. In those races, man is weaker, woman is stronger. The woman goes on doing all the work that ordinarily in other countries men will do. And men go on doing the work that in other countries women will do. Not only that, their bodies are weak. Their structure is weak. They have come to believe that this is so. The belief creates phenomena. Belief is creative. Why this happens? Because mind is more powerful than matter. So if mind believes really something, the matter has to follow. The matter cannot do against the mind. Matter is dead. Even impossibles happen. Jesus says, faith can move mountains. Faith can move. And if your faith cannot move, that only means that you don't have faith. Not that faith cannot move mountains. Your faith cannot move because you don't have faith. Now, much research is going on this phenomenon of belief. And science is coming to many unbelievable conclusions. Religion always believed. But science is coming to those same conclusions. It has to come. Because many phenomena for the first time are being searched. For example, you may have heard about placebo medicines. There are hundreds and hundreds of pathies in the world. Allopathy and Ayurvedic and Unani and homeopathy and naturopathy and hundreds. And they all claim that they can cure. And they cure. Their claims are not false. This is a rare thing. Because their diagnosis is different. Their treatment is different. There is one illness. And there are 101 diagnoses. And then 101 treatments. And every treatment helps. So the question is bound to be raised. Whether really treatment helps or the belief of the patient. This is impossible. So in many countries, in many ways, in many universities, in many hospitals, they are working on placebo medicines. Just water or something non-medicinal is given. But the patient believes that a medicine has been given. Not only the patient, but the doctor also believes, because the doctor is not also aware. Because even if the doctor is aware, that will affect. Because more than the medicine, the doctor gives the belief to the patient. So when you pay more and you have a bigger doctor, you get well better and sooner. It is a question of belief. If the doctor just gives you a 4 anna medicine, just 4 annas, you know well that nothing is going to happen. How? Such a big patient with such a big disease, such a great phenomenon is going to be cured by 4 annas. Impossible. The belief cannot be created. every doctor has to create around him a phenomenon of belief, an aura of belief. That helps. So if the doctor knows that this is just water he is giving, he will not give with belief, with faith. His face will show, his hand will show, his whole attitude and behavior will show that he is giving just water, and the unconscious of the patient will be affected. The doctor must believe. The more he believes, the better, because his belief is infectious. The patient looks at the doctor. If the doctor feels confident that, don't worry, this is a new treatment, a new medicine, this is going to help you 100%. There is no doubt about it. The whole personality of the doctor gives the impression of 100% hope. Already, even before giving the medicine, the patient is being cured. Already the cure has started. Now they say that whatsoever you give, 30% patients will be cured almost immediately. Whatsoever you give, allopathy, naturopathy, homeopathy, or any pathy, or any homeopathy, whatsoever you do, 30% patients will be cured immediately. Those 30% are believers. That is the ratio. If I look at you, then in you, 30% are the potential ones who will immediately be transformed. Once they get the belief, immediately the belief will start working. 1/3 of whole humanity can be immediately transformed, changed to new orders of being without any difficulty. Then the question is how to create the belief in them. Once the belief is there, then nothing can debar them. You may be one of those fortunate ones, the 30%. But a great misfortune has happened to humanity, and that is those 30% are condemned. The society, the education, the civilization, all condemn them. They are thought to be stupid people. They are more potential people. They have a great power, but they are condemned. And impotent intellectual people are praised because they can play with language, words, reason. They are praised. And really, they are simply impotent. They cannot do anything in the real world of inner being. They can just go on with their mind. But they possess the universities. They possess the news media. They are the masters in a way. And they are artists in condemnation. They can condemn anything. And this 30% potential humanity, those who can believe and can get transformed, they are not so articulate, they cannot be. They cannot reason. They cannot argue. That's why they can believe. So they cannot argue their case. They have themselves become self-condemned. They think something is wrong. If you can believe, you start feeling that something is wrong with you. If you can doubt, you think something is great with you. But doubt is not a force. Through doubt, never anyone got to the innermost being, to the ultimate ecstasy. No one ever. If you can believe, then this sutra will be helpful for you. Believe, omniscient, omnipotent, pervading. You are that already. And just by believing it, all that is hiding you, that is covering you, will fall down immediately. But even for those 30% ones, it will be difficult. Because they are also conditioned to believe in something which is not the case. They are also conditioned to doubt. They are also trained to be skeptical. And they know their limitations of how they can believe. Or if they believe, people will think they are mad. If you say that you believe that inside you is the all-pervading, the omnipotent, the divine, the all-powerful, then people will look at you and they will think you have gone crazy. How can you believe such things unless you are mad? But try something. Start from the very beginning. Have a little feeling of this phenomenon, then belief will follow. Do one thing. If you want to use this technique, close your eyes and just feel that you have no body. As if the body has disappeared, melted away. Then you can feel your all-pervadingness. With the body it is difficult. That's why many traditions go on teaching that feel that you are not the body. Because with the body, limitation comes in. If you can feel you are not the body, it is not difficult because you are not the body. This is just a condition that you are the body. This is just a thought that has been forced upon your mind. Your mind has been impregnated with the thought that you are the body. There are phenomena. In Ceylon, Buddhist monks walk on the fire. In India also. But the Ceylonese phenomena is very rare. They walk for hours. They are not burnt. So it happened once, just a few years before. One Christian missionary went to see the fire walk. They do it on the night when Buddha became enlightened. The full moon night, when Buddha became enlightened, they do it. Because on that day, they say, it was revealed to the world that body is nothing. Matter is nothing. The inner being is all-pervading. The fire cannot burn. But for this, those monks who walk on the fire for 1 year completely, they purify their body through pranayama, breathing processes, fasting, meditate, purify their minds, empty their minds. For 1 year continuously they prepare. They live in isolated cells, just feeling that they are not their bodies. For 1 year continuously. A group of 50, 60 monks goes on thinking they are not their body. A year is a long thing. Every moment thinking only one thing, they are not their body. Continuously hammering that the body is illusory. They come to believe. Then too, they are not forced to walk on the fire. They are brought to the fire, and then whosoever thinks that he will not be burned, he jumps into it. Few remain doubting, hesitating. They are not allowed. Because this is not a question of fire burning or not, this is a question of their doubt. If they hesitate a little, they are stopped. So 60 are prepared, sometimes 20, sometimes 30 people jump into it. They dance in the fire for hours together, without any burning. One missionary came to see it just in 1950. And he was so much surprised. And then he thought, if belief in Buddha can do this miracle, then why not believe in Jesus? So he thought for a while. He hesitated a little. But then, the idea was this, that if Buddha can help, then Jesus will also help. So he jumped. He got burned, badly burned. Had to be hospitalized for 6 months. But he couldn't understand what was the phenomenon. It is not a question of Jesus or Buddha. It is not a question of belief in someone, it is a question of belief. And that belief has to be hammered into the mind. Unless it reaches to the very core of your being, then it starts working, then it functions. So that Christian missionary went back to England to study about hypnosis, mesmerism and allied phenomena, that what is happening in this fire walking. Then they invited 2 monks in Oxford University to give a demonstration. The monks went. They walked on the fire. Many times the experiment was tried. Then those 2 monks saw that one professor was looking at them. And he was looking so deeply and he was so involved. His eyes, his face, they were ecstatic. So those 2 monks went near the professor and told him that you can also come with us. Immediately he ran with them, jumped into the fire, and nothing happened. He was not burnt. The Christian missionary was also present. And he knew well that this professor was a professor of logic. A man who is professionally doubtful. His profession is based on doubt. So he asked that man, what? You have done a miracle. I couldn't do it, and I am a believer. The professor said, in that moment, I was a believer. This phenomenon was so real, so fantastically real, it gripped me. It was so clear that body is nothing and mind is everything. And I felt so ecstatically in tune with these 2 monks. And when they invited me, there was not a single hesitation. It was so simple to walk on it. Just as if there was no fire. But there was no hesitation, no doubt. That's the key. So first, to try this experiment, sit with closed eyes for a few minutes, just thinking that you are not your body. Not only thinking, but feeling that you are not your body. And if you sit with closed eyes, a distance is created. Your body goes on moving away and away. You go on moving inwards. A great distance is created, and you can feel you are not the body. If you feel you are not the body, then you can believe you are all pervading, omnipotent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-powerful. This all-powerfulness or this all-knowingness is not concerned with so-called knowledge. It is a feeling, an explosion of feeling that you know. This has to be understood, particularly in the West. Whenever you say that you know, they will ask, what? What do you know? Knowledge must be objective. You must know something. And if it's a question of knowing something, you cannot be all-pervading. No one can be. Because infinite facts are there to be known. No one can be all-knowing in that sense. That's why in the West they laugh. When Jains claim that Mahavira was Sarvajna, all-knowing, they laugh. Because if Mahavira was all-knowing, then he must have known all that science is discovering now. Even that which science will discover in future. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And obviously, he says many things which are contradictory to science, which cannot be true, which are not factual. His knowledge, if it is all-pervading, must never be erroneous, but there are errors. Christians believe that Jesus was all-knowing, but the modern mind will laugh, because he was not all-knowing. All-knowing in the sense of knowing all the facts, and knowing all about the facts of the world. He didn't know that the earth is circular. The earth is a globe, he didn't know it. He knew that the earth is a flat ground. He didn't know that the earth has been in existence for millions and millions of years. He believed that God created just 4,000 years before him. As far as facts, objective facts are concerned, he is not all-knowing. But this word all-knowing is totally different. When the Eastern sages say all-knowing, they don't mean knowing all about the facts. They mean all-conscious, all aware, fully inside, fully conscious, enlightened. They are not concerned with knowing something, they are concerned only with the pure phenomena of knowing. Not knowledge, but the very quality of knowing. When we say Buddha knows, we don't mean that he knows what Einstein knows. He doesn't know that. He is a knower. He knows his own being. And that being is all-pervading. That feeling of isness is all-pervading. And in that knowing, nothing remains to be known. That's the point. Now, there is no curiosity to know anything. All questions have dropped. Not that all answers have been achieved. All questions have dropped. Now, there is no question to be asked. All curiosity has gone. There is no problem to be solved. This inner quietness, this inner silence, filled with inner light, is infinite knowing. This is what is meant by omniscience. Subjective awakening. This you can do. And this will not happen if you go on adding more knowledge to your mind. You can go on adding for lives together. You will know something, but you will never know all. The all is infinite. It cannot be known in that way. Science will remain always incomplete. It can never be complete. That's impossible. Inconceivable that it can be complete. Really, the more science knows, the more it comes to know that more has to be known. This all-knowingness is the inner quality of
Volume 2, Discourse number 33, Tape 2.
In this sense, Upanishads have declared, I am Brahmasmi, I am the Brahma, I am the Absolute. Once you know this little phenomena of your being, you have known the infinite. You are just like a drop of the ocean. Even if one drop is known, all the secrets of the ocean become revealed. Believe, omniscient, omnipotent, pervading. But this will come through faith. This you cannot argue with yourself. You cannot convince yourself with some argument. You will have to dig deep within you for such feelings, sources for such feelings. This word believe is very significant. It doesn't mean that you have a conviction. Because conviction means a rational thing. You are convinced. You have argued it over. You have proofs for it. Belief means you don't have any doubts about it, not proofs. Conviction means you have proofs. You can prove, you can argue. You can say this is so. You can reason it out. Belief means you don't have any doubts. You cannot argue it. You cannot rationalize. You will be defeated if you argue. But you have an inner grounding. You feel it is so. It is a feeling, not a reasoning. Remember that such techniques can work only if you work with your feeling, not with your reasoning. So it has happened so many times that very ignorant people, uneducated, uncultured, reach heights of human consciousness. And those who are very much cultured, educated, reasonable, rational, they miss. Jesus is just a carpenter. Friedrich Nietzsche somewhere writes that in the whole New Testament, there is only one person really worth who is cultured, educated, philosophically knowledgeable, wise. And that man is Pilate, the Roman governor, who ordered Jesus to be crucified. And really, he was the most cultured man. The governor general, he was there. Viceroy, he was there. And he knew what philosophy is. And he asked in the last moment, when Jesus was going to be crucified, he asked, what is truth? And it was a very philosophical question. And Jesus remained silent. Not that this person was not worth answering. He was the only person who could have understood deep philosophy. But Jesus remained silent because he could speak only to those who can feel. Feeling was not of any use. You can go on philosophizing. And he was asking a philosophical question. It was good if he had asked it in a university, in some academy. But asking Jesus a philosophical question was meaningless. He remained silent. It was futile to answer. No communication was possible. But Nietzsche, himself a man of reason, condemns Jesus. He says he was uneducated, uncultured, unphilosophical. He couldn't answer. That's why he remained silent. Pilate asked a beautiful question. If he had asked to Nietzsche, he would have talked about it for years together. What is truth? This is one question is enough to talk for years and discuss about it. The whole philosophy is just this business of what is truth. The one question. And all the philosophers are involved in it. So Nietzsche's criticism is really the criticism of reason, condemnation of reason. Reason has been condemning always the dimension of feeling. Because feeling is so vague, so mysterious, is there and you cannot say anything about it. Either you have got it or you don't have got it. Either it is there or it is not there. You cannot do anything about it. And you cannot discuss it. You also have many beliefs, but those beliefs are just convictions. They are not beliefs. Because you have doubts about them. You have crushed those doubts by arguments. But they are there. You are sitting on top of them, but they are there. You go on fighting with them, but they are not dead. They cannot be. That's why your life, it may be of a Hindu or a Mohammedan or a Christian or a Jain, but it's only of convictions. Faith is not there. I will tell you one anecdote. Jesus told his disciples to move in a boat to the other bank of a lake where they were staying. And he said, I will be coming later. So they moved. When they were just in the middle of the lake, a great wind came and there was much turmoil. And they were afraid. And the boat was rocking. And they started crying and screaming. And they started crying, Jesus. And the bank where Jesus was very distant from there. Save us. So Jesus came. It is said, he came running on the waters. And the first thing he said to his disciples was, men of little faith, why are you crying? Don't you believe? They were scared. Jesus said, if you believe, then come out of the boat and walk towards me. He was standing on the water. And they were seeing with their own eyes that he is standing on the water. But still, it is difficult to believe. Still, I say it is difficult to believe. Jesus was standing on the water. But they must have thought in their mind there must be some trick. Or it must maybe just an illusion. Or this may not be Jesus. This may be just the devil alluring them or something. So they started looking to each other. Who will walk? Then one disciple came out of the boat. And he walked. Really, he could walk. He couldn't believe his own eyes. He was walking on the water. And when he came just near Jesus, he said, but how? How it is happening? Immediately, the whole miracle disappeared. The how. And he was underwater. Jesus pulled him out and said, men of little faith, why you ask how? But reason asks why, how. Reason asks, reason is question. Faith is dropping of all questions. If you can drop all questions and believe, then this technique can work miracles for you. Enough for today.
Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary. Discourse number 34, given in Bombay, India.
Question. With deepening meditation, one becomes more and more sensitive to objects, events and persons. But due to this heightened sensitivity, one feels a sort of deep intimacy with everything, and this usually becomes a cause of subtle attachments. How to be sensitive and yet detached? How to be sensitive and yet detached? These two things are not contraries, they are not opposites. If you are more sensitive, you will be detached. Or if you are detached, you will become more and more sensitive. Sensitivity is not attachment. Sensitivity is awareness. Only an aware person can be sensitive. If you are not aware, you will be insensitive. When you are unconscious, you are totally insensitive. More consciousness, more sensitivity. A Buddha is totally sensitive. Optimum sensitivity is there. Because he will feel, he will be aware to his total capacity. But when you are sensitive and aware, you will not be attached, you will be detached. Because the very phenomena of awareness breaks the bridge, destroys the bridge. Between you and things, between you and persons, between you and the world. Unconsciousness, unawareness is the cause of attachment. If you are alert, suddenly the bridge disappears. When you are alert, there is nothing to relate you to the world. The world is there, you are there, but between the two, the bridge has disappeared. The bridge is made of your unconsciousness. So don't think and feel that you become attached because you are more sensitive. No. If you are more sensitive, you will not be attached. Attachment is a very gross quality. It is not subtle. For attachment, you need not be aware and alert. There is no need. Even animals can do that very easily. A dog is more attached to his master than any man can be attached to his master. The dog is completely unconscious. Attachment happens. That's how where human relationship has become poor in the West. Man goes on seeking relationship with the animals, with dogs and other animals. Because the human relationship is no more there. Human society is disappearing. And every man feels isolated, alienated, alone. The crowd is there, but you are not related to it. You are alone in the crowd. And this aloneness is scarce. One becomes afraid and fearful. When you are related, attached to someone and someone is attached to you, you are not alone in this world, in this strange world. Someone is with you. That feeling of belonging gives you a sort of security. When human relationship In the East, you may be worshipping cows, but you are not related to them. In the West, they are very deeply related to dogs and other animals. You may go on saying that you worship cows as a divine animal, but your cruelty has no end. In the East, you are so cruel with your animals that the West cannot even conceive that how you are non-violent. All over the world, particularly in the West, there are many societies to protect animals from the cruelty of men. You cannot beat a dog in the West. If you beat, it will be a criminal act. You will be punished for it. What is happening really? Human relationship is dissolving, and man cannot live alone. He must have relationship, a belonging, a feeling that someone is with him. So animals can be very good friends because they get so much attached that no man can get so much attached. For attachment, awareness is not necessary. Rather, awareness is the barrier. The more aware you become, the less you will be attached. Because the need for attachment disappears. Why you want to be attached to someone? Because alone you feel you are not enough. You lack something. Something is incomplete in you. You are not a whole. You need someone to complete you. Hence attachment. If you are aware, you are complete. You are a whole. The circle is now complete. Nothing is lacking in you. You don't. You alone feel a total independence, a feeling of wholeness. That doesn't mean that you will not love persons. Rather on the contrary, only you can love. A person who is dependent on you cannot love you. He will hate you. A person who needs you cannot love you. He will hate you. Because you become the bondage. He feels that without you he cannot live. He cannot be happy without you. So you are the cause of his happiness and unhappiness both. He cannot afford to lose you. And this will give a feeling of imprisonment. He is imprisoned to you. He will resent it. He will fight against it. Persons hate and love together. This love cannot be very deep. A person who is aware, only he can love. Because he doesn't need you. But then love has a totally different dimension. It is not attachment. He is not dependent. He is not dependent on you and he will not make you a dependent to him. He will remain a freedom. And he will allow you to remain a freedom. You will be two free agents, two total whole beings meeting. That meeting will be a festivity, a celebration, not a dependence. That meeting will be a fun, a play. And that's why we have called Krishna's life, Krishna Leela, the play of Krishna. He is loving so many persons, but there is no attachment. The same is not true on the part of the gopis and the gopals, the friends and the girlfriends of Krishna. The same is not true. They have become attached. So when Krishna moves from Vrindavan to Dwarka, they weep and they cry and they suffer. Their anguish is great. And they think, how Krishna has forgotten them. He has not forgotten. But there is no pain because there was no dependence. He is as whole and happy in Dwarka as he was in Vrindavan. His love is as much flowing in Dwarka as it was flowing in Vrindavan. Objects of love have changed. His source of love remains the same. So whosoever comes near him gets the gift, receives the gift. And this gift is unconditional. Nothing is required as a reply. Nothing is asked as a return. Love, when it comes to aware consciousness, is just a pure gift with no condition. And the person who is giving it is happy because he is giving it. The very act of giving is his bliss, is his expression. So remember this, that if you feel that through meditation you have become more sensitive, then automatically you will become less attached and more detached. Because you will be more grounded in yourself. You will be more centered in yourself. You will not use somebody else as your center. What attachment means? Attachment means that you are using someone else as your center of being. Majnu is attached to Leela. He says he cannot live without Leela. And that means the center of being is transferred. If you say that you cannot live without this or that, then your soul is not within you. Then you are not existing as an independent unit. Then somewhere else your center has moved. This moving of the center, this movement of the center from yourself to something else, to the other. If you are sensitive, you will feel the other, but the other will not become the center of your life. You will remain the center. And out of this centering, the other will receive many gifts from you, but they will be gifts. They will not be bargains. You will simply give because you have too much, overflowing. And you will be thankful that the other has received it. And that will be enough, and that will be the end. That's why I go on saying that the mind is a great deceiver. You think that you are meditating and that's why you have become sensitive. And the question arises, why you get attached? If you get attached, that's a clear symptom that the sensitivity is not because of awareness. And really it is not sensitivity at all, it may be sentimentality. And that totally different thing. You can be sentimental. You can cry and weep for small things. And you can be touched. And a storm can be created very easily within you. But that is sentimentalism, not sensitivity. And let me tell you a story. Buddha was staying in a village. One woman came weeping and crying and screaming. Her child had suddenly died, Haroli. Buddha was in the village, so people said, don't weep. Go to this man. People say he is infinite compassion. If he wills, the child can revive. So don't weep, go to this Buddha. So that woman came with a dead child, crying, weeping, and the whole village following her. And the whole village is affected. Buddha's disciples are affected. And they start praying in their minds that Buddha should have compassion. And he must bless this child. So the child is revived, resurrected. Many disciples of Buddha start weeping. The scene was so touching, deeply moving inside. Everybody is distressed. Buddha remains silent. He looks at the dead child, then he looks at the weeping, crying mother, and he says to the mother that, don't weep. Just do one thing, and your child will be alive again. You go back to the town, leave this dead child here. Go to the town and ask every family, move to every house and ask whether someone has ever died in their family, in their house. And if you can find a house that has ever been dead, that bears something from them to be eaten, a bread, some rice, or anything. But from the house where no one has ever been dead, and that bread or that rice will revive this child immediately. You go, don't waste time. The woman becomes happy. He feels now the miracle is going to happen. He touches Buddha's feet and runs to the village. The village is not a very big one. Very few cottages, few families. He moves from one family to another asking. But every family says this is impossible. There is not a single house, not only in this village, all over the earth, you will not find a single house where no one has ever died, where people have not suffered death and the misery and the pain and the anguish that comes out of it. By and by the woman realizes the Buddha has been playing a trick. This is impossible. But still the hope is there. She goes asking, and then the whole, she has taken a round of the whole village. Her tears have dried. Her hope has died. But suddenly she feels a new tranquility, a serenity coming to her. Now she realizes whosoever is born will have to die. It is only a question of years. Someone will die sooner, someone later, but death is inevitable. She comes, she touches Buddha's feet again, and she says to Buddha, that as people say, really, you have such deep compassion for people. No one can understand what has happened. Buddha initiates her into sannyas. She becomes a bhikkhuni. She becomes a sannyasi. She is initiated. Ananda asks Buddha, you could have resurrected the boy. Such a beautiful child. And the mother was in such anguish. Buddha says, even the child is resurrected, he will have to die. Death is inevitable. Ananda says to Buddha, you don't seem to be very sensitive to people, to their misery and anguish. Buddha says, I am sensitive, you are sentimental. Just because you start weeping, you think you are sensitive. You are childish. You don't understand life, you are not aware of the phenomenon. And look, this is the difference between Christianity and Buddhism. Christ is reported to have done many miracles. When he revives people, Lazarus is dead, and Jesus touched him, and he came back to life. We in the East cannot conceive a Buddha touching a dead man and bring to life. Jesus took more than because even if Lazarus is revived, it means beautiful. He will have to die. Finally, Lazarus had to die. This miracle is of no use, of no ultimate value. Buddha cannot be conceived of doing such a thing. Jesus had to do it. Because Jesus was bringing something new, a new message. And the message was so deep that people would not understand. So he had to create miracles around. Because people can understand that. They cannot understand the deep message, that is the very message, but they can understand miracles. And through miracles, they may become open to understand, to be able to be receptive to the message. Jesus was carrying a Buddhist message to a land which was not Buddhist. An Eastern message to some country which had no tradition of enlightenment, of many Buddhas. We can conceive that Buddha is more sensitive than his disciples who were beaten crying. They were sentimental. So don't misunderstand your sentimentality for sensitivity. Sentimentality is ordinary. Sensitivity is extraordinary. It happens slowly first. It is an achievement. You have to earn it. Sentimentality is not to be earned, you are born with it. It is animal inheritance. You already have it in yourself of the body and the mind. Sensitivity is a possibility. You don't have it already. You can create it. You can work for it. Then it will happen to you. And whenever it happens, you will be detached. Buddha is totally detached. The dead child is there. Seems to be affected at all. He is playing with it. Woman, that mother, miserable she was. And he is playing with her a trick. This explain a betrayal seems to be too much for a mother whose child has died. He has given a riddle, and he knows well that she will come back empty-handed. But I say again, he has real compassion. He is helping this woman to grow, to be mature. Unless you can understand that, you are not mature. And unless you can accept that, you don't have a center within your being. When you accept that as a reality, you have transcended it. Buddha used the situation. He was less concerned with the dead child, more concerned with the alive mother. Because he knows the dead child will come back to life again, there is no need for the miracle. But if the child is revived, the mother will lose an opportunity he may not get for life together, meeting with the Buddha. In the East, only third-rate sadhus have been doing miracles. The first-rate have never done it. They work on a higher level. Buddha is also doing a miracle, but the miracle is being done on a very high level. The mother is being transformed. But it's difficult to understand because our minds are dark. And we understand sentimentality. We cannot understand sensitivity. Sensitivity means an alertness, which feels everything that happens around. And you can feel only when you are not attached. Remember this. If you are attached, you are no more there to feel. You have moved out of it. So if you want to about someone, the truth, don't ask his friends. They are attached. Don't ask his enemies. They are also attached in the river ask. Ask someone who is neutral, neither a friend nor enemy. Only he can say the truth. Friends cannot be believed, enemies cannot be believed. But we either believe the friends or believe the enemies. Both are bound to be wrong. They don't have the neutral witness. They don't have a different view. They cannot stand aloof and look at their investment in the person. Friends have their investment, enemies have their investment. They look according to particular viewpoints. And with those viewpoints they are attached. You cannot feel life in its totality if you are attached. The moment you feel you are attached, you have taken a viewpoint. The totality is lost. Only a fragmented thing is in your head. And fragments are always lies because only the whole is true. Meditate, become more sensitive, and take it as a criterion that you will go on becoming more and more detailed. If you feel that attachment is growing, that you are hearing somewhere in this. These are the criteria. And to me, attachment cannot be discharged, and detachment cannot be practiced. You can only practice meditation. Detachment will follow as a consequence, as a byproduct. If meditation really flowers within you will have a feeling of detachment. Then you can move anywhere. You will remain untouched, unafraid. And when you will leave your body, you will leave it undistressed. Your consciousness will be absolutely pure. Nothing foreign has entered into it. When you are attached, impurity is entered into it. This is the basic impurity that you are leaving your center, and somebody else or something else is becoming your center of being. Second question, if faith can move mountains, why can you not feel your own body? I don't have any body. This feeling that you have a body is absolutely wrong. The body belongs to the universe. You don't have it. It is not yours. So if the body is ill, or if the body is healthy, it is the universe that will take care of it. And the person who is in meditation should remain a witness whether the body is healthy or ill. Desire to be healthy is part of ignorance. The desire not to be ill is also part of ignorance. And this is not a new question. This is one of the oldest questions. It has been asked to Buddha, it has been asked to Mahavir. Ever since there have been enlightened persons, the unenlightened have always asked the question. Look, Jesus says faith can move mountains, but he died on the cross. He couldn't move the cross. You or someone like you must have been sitting there who were waiting. The disciples were waiting because they knew Jesus, and he has been saying again and again that faith can move mountains. So they were waiting that some miracle is going to happen. And Jesus simply died on the cross. But this was the miracle. He could be a witness to his own death. And the moment of witnessing your own death is the greatest moment of being alive. Buddha died of food poisoning. Suffered for 6 months continuous. And many of the disciples who were waiting, he could do a miracle. But he suffered silence and died silent. He accepted death. Disciples were there who were trying to cure him, and many medicines were given to him. A great physician of those days, Shivak, was Buddha's personal physician. He used to move with him wherever he would go. And many times people must have asked, why did Shivak go down with him? But it was Shivak's own attitude. Shivak was moving with Buddha because of his own attitude. And disciples were trying to help Buddha's body to remain more, even 2 days more, into this world. That was their own attitude. For Buddha himself, illness and health were the same. That doesn't mean that illness will not give pain. It will give. Because pain is a physical phenomenon, it will happen. But it will not disturb the inner consciousness. The inner consciousness will remain consistent. It will remain as well as health. The body will suffer. But the inner being will remain just as it is the whole body. There will be no identity. And this is called a miracle. And this is possible through faith. And no mountain is bigger than identity. Himalayas are nothing. Your identification with your body is a greater mountain. Himalayas may be moved or not moved at another level. So faith. But your identification can be better. But we cannot think anything if we don't know. We can think only according to our mind. We think where we are. The pattern. Then it's the same. People come to me. Sometimes my body is ill. And they come to me and say, why do I? You could not do it. An enlightened person could not be ill, but who told you? I've never heard about any enlightened person who was not ill. Illness belongs to the body. It is no concern with your consciousness, whether you are enlightened or not. And sometimes it happens that enlightened the whole thing and unenlightened one. There are differences. Because now they don't belong to the body. They don't cooperate to the body. Deep down, they have broken themselves from the body. The body hymns, but the attachment in the bridge is broken. Many illnesses happen because of that. The separation has happened. They are in the body, but their cooperation is no more there. That's why we say an enlightened person will never be born again. Because now we cannot make any bridge with anybody again. The bridge is broken. Why he is in the body, then really he is dead. Buddha attained enlightenment when he was near about 40. He died when he was 8. He lived 40 years more. The day he was dying, Ananda started crying and he said, what will happen to us without you? We will fall into darkness. And you are dying and we have not yet become enlightened. Our own life is yet unlit. And you are dying, don't believe us. Buddha is supposed to have said, what are you saying, Ananda? I died 40 years before. This existence was just a symbolic. It was never existence. It was running anyhow. The force was not there. It was just a past momentum. You are pedaling a bicycle. And then you stop. And then there is no pedaling. You are not giving any cooperation to the life. But it goes on moving for a little while. Just because of the movement and the energy that you gave in the past. The moment someone becomes enlightened, the cooperation is broken. Now the body will take its course. It has a momentum. For so many lives in the past, the momentum was given to it. It has a life in of its own. It will be complete. But now because the inner force is no more with it, the body is bound to be more ill than ordinary. Ramakrishna died of cancer. Raman died of cancer. To the disciples it was a great shock. But because of their ignorance they cannot understand. When a person becomes enlightened, this is going to be his last life. And all the past karmas and the whole continuum has to be rooted in this life. Suffering, if he has any to suffer, will become easy. For him there is no hurry. Your suffering will be spread out into many lives. But for a Raman, this is the last. All that is there from the past has to be complete. There will be an intensity of everything, of all karmas. This life will become a condensed life. And sometimes it happens. It's difficult to understand. Sometimes it is possible to suffer in a single moment. Suffering of many lives. In a single moment, the intensity becomes so. And time can be condensed or can be spread out. You know already that sometimes you sleep and you see a dream. And when you are awake again, you know that only for a few seconds you have been asleep. But you have seen such a long dream. Even a whole life is possible to see in a single dream. What has happened in such a small period of time? How could you see such a long dream? There is not a a single time as we ordinarily understand. There are many layers of time. Dream time has its own existence. Even while awake, the time goes on changing. It may not change in the clock, because clock is a mechanical thing. But the psychological time goes on changing. When you are happy, the time flows fast. When you are unhappy, the time slows down. A single night can be eternity if you are in sorrow. And the whole life can become a single moon if you are happy and blissful. As a person becomes enlightened, now everything has to be closed. This is a closing time. Many millions of lives have to be closed, and all the accounts have to be cleared, because there will be no chance anymore. An enlightened person, after his enlightenment, lives in a different time altogether. And whatsoever happens to him is qualitatively different. But he remains limitless. Mahavir died of stomach pain, something like ulcers. And for years together he suffered. Disciples must have been in difficulty because they have created many stories around. They cannot conceive why Mahavir should suffer. So they have created a story. That story shows something about the disciples, not about the Mahavir. They say, one person who was very feeble in his spirit, Gohalak, he was the cause of Mahavir's suffering. He threw his evil force on Mahavir. And just because of compassion, Mahavir absorbed it. And that's why he suffered. This shows not anything about the Mahavir, but about the difficulty of the disciples. They cannot conceive why Mahavir should suffer. So they have to find out some cause somewhere else. One day I was suffering from cold. That's my constant companion. Somebody came and he said, you must have taken somebody else's cold. That doesn't say anything about me, it was about him. It is difficult for him to conceive why I should suffer. So he said, you must have taken somebody else's cold. I tried to convince him, but it is impossible to convince disciples. The more you try to convince them, the more they believe that I'm right. In the end, he said to me, whatever you say, I'm not going to listen. I know. If you have taken somebody else's illness, what to do? The body, its health, its illness, is its own affair. If you want to do something, you are still attached to it. It will take its own course. You need not get much worried about it. I'm only the witness. The boy is born, the body will die. Only the witnessing will be there. It will remain forever. Only witnessing is something absolutely eternal. Everything else goes on changing, everything else is a flux. Third question. Last night you explained in detail about how seekers deceive themselves by not making earnest and sleepless efforts for meditation. But with many of the seekers who earnestly ask you for meditation techniques, you simply say to them to leave everything to you, and that you will look after their spiritual progress. But many seekers feel dissatisfaction about their spiritual transformation that way. In this case, explain how these seekers are deceiving themselves. First, when they ask for a technique, I give them a technique. This is the technique. Leave everything. This is one of the most powerful techniques possible. And don't think that it is easy. It is very difficult. Sometimes impossible. It is difficult to leave everything to somebody. But if you can leave, in that very surrender, your ego has disappeared. In that very surrender, your past has disappeared. In that very surrender, a new point is born. You are different. Up to now, you were living with your own ego. From onwards, you will be living without the ego. You will be following a path of surrender. So don't think that this is not a technique. This is a technique. One of the very basic techniques. And I don't give it to any and everybody. I give it only to particular persons who are very egoistic. Because to them, any technique will create trouble. Their ego will exploit it. They will become more egoistic for it. They can practice anything except this. By that practice, their ego is not going to be disturbed. Rather, it will be more fulfilled. They will become great meditators. They can renounce the world. But their ego will be strengthened, whatever they do. Whenever I feel that this seeker has such a subtle ego, that any method will be poisonous to him, then only I will leave everything to him. Not that this is going to be the end, but this is going to be the beginning. And this is going to be the right beginning for all those who are ego-centered. If they can leave, then I will start giving them other techniques, but only then. Then those techniques will not prove poisonous. Once the ego is not there, those techniques will transform. And if this surrender is so total, that nothing is left to be transformed. Then there will be no need for any other technique. This too is possible. And remember, this is possible only for those who are very egoistic. Only they can surrender to them. This will look confusing, paradoxical. But remember, you can lead something only if you have it. If you don't have a very strong ego, what you can lead? What you can surrender? That is just asking it better to surrender all his riches. He will say okay. But this okay means nothing. He will still get you life because he has nothing to lose. And if you have a very strong ego, that means very concentrated ego, it's alive, you can leave it. Okay. Because it will be difficult to leave it in parts. It is so concentrated and crystallized. It will be difficult to leave it in elements. Either you can leave it or not. This is one of the paradoxes of life. That for surrender, a very authentic ego is needed in the first place to be there. So to me, a right education will consist in creating strong egos. To the very extreme, where a great suffering is born out of them. And then surrender. Only then surrender is possible. This has been my experience. Persons coming from the West have more stronger egos than the Eastern persons. Because in the West, there is no concept of surrender, no concept of obedience, no concept of guru and disciple. Really, the Western mind cannot conceive what a guru is. And they cannot conceive surrender to anybody. The whole Western education, culture and civilization is based on ego fulfillment. And Western psychologists say that to be healthy, mentally healthy, you must have a strong ego. So all the Western psychologies help the ego to be strong. And a child must be strengthened in his ego in every way. Otherwise he will become mentally ill. And Eastern religions say unless you leave the ego, you cannot know the ultimate truth. You cannot know what life's mystery is. Both seem to be contradictory, but they are not. To me, the Western training must be there in the beginning with every person all over the world. Every person should be given a strong ego. By the age of 35, you must have reached to the peak of your ego. And only then, when the sun moves towards sunset, at the age of 35, it is at its peak, just above the head. The ego must be strong, as strong as possible. Only then surrendering will happen. So whenever Western seekers come to me, and I tell them to leave, they are very hesitant, resistant. They think impossible. But sometimes, when it happens, they achieve a very deeper realization. With Eastern persons, it is not very difficult. They are ready. You can surrender with less. There is not a single hesitation on their part. They don't have very strong developed egos. They can surrender it, but that surrender is important. That will not happen. So it almost always happens that with the Eastern person give immediately a technique to work, so that it helps their egos. The Western persons are immediately surrender. They have already that point within them, and they can surrender. They are very hesitancy shows that they can surrender, but their surrender is going to be a struggle. And when it is a struggle, it is a struggle. When it is a struggle, it means something. It is going to transform them. So the first thing, when I say leave everything to me, this is a technique. And this I say only to persons who have very developed egos. Secondly, but many people feel dissatisfaction about their spiritual transformation that way. Right. These are the people to whom I say surrender. They feel very dissatisfied. They want something to do, not to surrender. I know they will feel dissatisfied. Their ego will test. They will try in every way not to surrender. But that cannot be helped. They will have to pass through this dissatisfaction. And they will have to understand that leaving everything to me is just the beginning. And if they cannot do that, I'm not going to give any technique to them right now. They can leave me, I'll leave everything to me. There is no other alternative. Once I say to someone that leave everything to me, I'm not going to give any technique to them. I know that it will be difficult and arduous. But it has to be so. More difficult, more arduous, the better. Because that means he has a more evolved ego, and the ego is stubborn. And he will have to come someday to me or to someone else. That is irrelevant. Where he will have to surrender. The master is not so relevant. The surrendering is relevant. Where you surrender is of no significance. You can surrender to a stone Buddha. That will do. Surrendering transforms you. It is putting your ego aside, unburdening yourself. For the first time, not living out of the past, moving into the present, fresh and young, unburdened. And the third thing, in this case, please explain how these seekers are deceiving themselves. They can deceive. They can say to me, yes, we leave everything to you, and go on withholding everything. They can deceive that they have surrendered, and they can go on insisting their own ways. Surrender cannot be partial. It can be only total. And then you cannot put your conditions, your likes and dislikes, I'll leave everything to you. Whatsoever you say, I will do. I told him. Let's repeat again slowly. Whatsoever you say, I will do. He repeated. I told him again. Let us go more slowly. He became a little disturbed. He said, why? And he also became aware why I am saying going slowly. He said, you may be right. I could not say this because it is very difficult to read everything. And it will be difficult to follow whatsoever you say. Told him to make it conditional. He accepted because then you cannot think. So he said, right. Whatsoever I will like. Give me the freedom to choose. This is how you will receive inside. You remain the master. You go on choosing what to do and what not to do. And as it happens, whatsoever you choose is going to be wrong. Because your mind that is choosing is wrong, otherwise there was no need to come to it. When I say surrender, it means now you will not choose. Now I will choose and you will follow. And if you can follow totally, the day is not far, then I will say, now there is no need. Now you can choose. Once you must disappear. The surface, the superficial ego must disappear. Then your own being comes into being. I'm not going to take you forever and ever following me. That is not a very active business. Once I see that your ego is no more there, the inside master has come into being. The outer guru is nothing but a representative of the inner one. Once the inner is there, the outer is not needed. And your own guru will say to you, now you can follow yourself, move alone. Now you don't need anybody to guide. The inner light has come into being. Now you have your own inner light. You can see through it. It will show you the path. But right now, as you are, it is not possible. You don't have any light. You cannot see. And wherever your mind leads will be wrong. This mind has been leading you for life. And all it leads into particular patterns. It has own habits. It leads to according. It is a mechanical thing. Just to give a break, surrender is needed. Even for 2 days, if you surrender to someone, there will be a gap from your past. A new force has entered within you. Now, you cannot continue with the past. Your way, as it has always been, cannot be anymore. A turning will happen. This gap is what means by surrender. But you can deceive. You can say, yes, I surrender. And you may not surrender. Or even you may think that you have surrendered. And unconsciously, you are fighting. Not only in surrender, in everything. Wherever a let go is needed, we fight. In the West, much research is going on about the phenomenon of sex. Because people are becoming less and less capable of deep arvas. They have sex, but no ecstasy comes out of it. It has become a boring affair. Only they feel frustrated. Only they feel deconstructed. And then it becomes a routine. And they don't know what to do. And arvas, a deep ecstasy flows. It's the significance of it. If it is not happening, it is futile and useless, and even harmful. Many schools of psychology go on working. What has happened to man? Why he is not achieving arvas process? Why there is so disrespect? And the reason is, all the researchers indicate towards it, that man cannot surrender. That's why he cannot achieve arvas. Even while making love, while deep in sex, your mind remains in control. You go in control. You are not in a let go. You are so afraid of the let go. A deep fear is there. If you let go, if you allow the sex energy to move uncontrolled, you don't know where it will lead. You may go mad, or you may even die. That's the fear. So you remain in control. You go on manipulating your body. This manipulation from the mind doesn't allow the whole body to become a flow of energy. Then sex becomes a local affair. The whole body is not involved. The whole body is not in a dance. The ecstasy is missed. You lose energy. And you don't gain anything. Hence, frustration is bound to be there. So psychologists say that unless you are in a deep let go, the mind is not there, the ego is not there. The body has taken its own force, its own momentum. The body is moving by its own unconscious forces. You are not there. Then you will achieve a deep ecstasy. And that ecstasy can give you the first glimpse of the ultimate ecstasy that happens in the total let go of your ego with the divine, with the universe. Samadhi, the ultimate goal of all yoga and tantra, is deep arvas with the universe itself, with the existence itself. The guru is just trying, helping you, bringing you to a point where at least you can surrender the ego. And a deep ecstasy will happen between you and your master. Wherever there is let go, ecstasy happens. That's the law. If you can surrender to a guru, don't listen to anybody. Even if the whole world says that this guru is wrong, don't listen to it. If you can surrender, then this guru is right. You will achieve a ecstatic moment story. And if the whole world says this guru is right, then you cannot surrender. It's useless for you. So wherever you have the feeling of surrendering, there is your guru, your master. Search the place. Search the person in whose presence you can allow and let go, in whose presence you can drop your mind, even for a time being. Once this force from the outside enters in you, your path will be different. Your life will have taken a new turn. You can deceive. You can go on thinking that you have surrendered. And you know well inside that you have not surrendered. Remember, you cannot deceive. You cannot deceive the master, he knows. And he is nothing unless the let go really happens. You can maneuver. You can play a game. But you cannot deceive the master. You can just put your head into his feet. That gesture means nothing. It may be just a superficial gesture. You are not going down at all. But if really going down happens, the master can work. Whenever I say surrender, I'll leave it to me and I will take care. I need it. Exactly whatever I say, I need it. I want to create a gap between you, a discontinuity device. Once the gap is there, sooner or later you will become capable of going on your own. But before that, if you go on your own, you will continue the path is nothing new is possible. For the new, something from outside you must enter you, must put you on a new path. You said that Jesus didn't know that the earth is round. To a Christian who believes that Jesus was God, this seems very strange. Isn't it implied that an enlightened one like Jesus, who knew deep occult sciences, must also know many astronomical and astrological facts about planets, the universe, and the interrelationship of celestial bodies? Please explain. No, Jesus is not concerned. When Jesus says that the world is flat, he is using the knowledge that was prevalent in those days. He is not concerned. Whether the world is round or flat is meaningless. He is more concerned about those persons who are living on this flat or round earth. The concern has to be understood. It is absolutely futile for Jesus to discuss about these things. What difference does it make? For example, you know from the geography books that the world is round. If your geography books were teaching you that the world is flat, as they were teaching in the past, what difference will it make? Will you be a better man? Will you be more meditative on a flat world or on a round earth? What difference will it make to your being and the quality of your consciousness? It is irrelevant. Jesus is concerned with your consciousness. And you cannot unnecessarily argue about things which are useless. Only unenlightened persons are dragged into unnecessary things. If you had told Jesus that the world is round, he would have said yes. It is nonsense for him because that is not his concern. So there was the prevalent idea that the world is flat. And really, to the ordinary mind, the world is still flat. It looks flat. The roundness is a scientific fact, but Jesus is not a scientist. For example, I know now it is a scientific fact that the sun never rises and never sets. The earth is moving around. The sun is not moving. But still I use the word sunset, sunrise. Sunrise is basically round. The very one never rises. Sunset is round. It never sets. After 2,000 years, someone can say this man was unenlightened. He said sunrise, sunset. Didn't he knew this small thing? But if I am to change every word, then I will be fighting unnecessarily. And there is not going to help anybody. We have simply used the prevalent knowledge. And that was the prevalent idea that the earth is flat. He is not concerned about it. If he was here this day, then he will say the earth is round. But even that is not exactly scientific. Because the earth is not exactly round. Now they say it is like an egg. Not exactly wrong. The shape is like an egg. But who knows? They may change the other day, the next day they may change that there is no so. Science goes on changing. Because more accurate becomes the knowledge. More facts are known. More experiments are done, things go on changing. But a person like Jesus or Buddha is not concerned about these facts. Remember one thing, science is concerned with facts. Religion is concerned with truth. Facts are not a concern. Truth is the concern. Facts are about objects. Truth is about you. Your consciousness. So every enlightened person has to use the prevalent knowledge about facts. But you should not judge Jesus or Buddha so that you are sitting wrongly. They can be judged only what they have said about the truth, about the intrinsic truth of human consciousness.